There was a king who ate poison every single morning of his life. Not by accident, not as punishment. On purpose, in careful, measured doses for years, until his own body became something almost nobody else on earth could kill with anything you could put in a cup or a blade you could bribe someone to use. His name was Mithridates VI, king of Pontus, a kingdom on the edge of the Black Sea, somewhere in modern-day Turkey. And by the time he died, his enemies had spent decades trying to poison him and failed every single time. Not because he got lucky, because he built himself one small dose at a time into something that couldn't be poisoned at all. Here's how it worked. You take a small amount of a toxin, small enough that your body can survive it, and you swallow it anyway. Your body doesn't just survive, it adapts. It builds a tolerance. A week later, you take a slightly bigger dose. Your body adapts again. Month after month, year after year, you keep raising the amount, and your body keeps building higher and higher walls against it, until a dose that would drop another man dead in minutes barely gives you a headache. This wasn't some secret Mithridates invented alone in a dark room. His own family had been murdered by poison, generation after generation of Pontic royals killed by the very people who were supposed to protect them. Wives poisoning husbands, sons poisoning fathers, at royal dinner tables where every dish could be the one laced with something fatal. Mithridates grew up watching people around him die from cups they trusted. So as a young man, according to ancient historians, he fled into the wilderness for years, living off wild plants and roots, testing toxins on himself in small, deliberate amounts, building his resistance long before he ever sat on a throne. And when he finally did become king, he didn't stop. He kept a personal blend, a mixture of dozens of toxic substances combined into one daily dose, taken every morning like a ritual nobody else in his court was allowed to question. Ancient writers called it his universal antidote. And later physicians spent literal centuries trying to reverse engineer the recipe, because nobody could agree on exactly what was in it. Some versions supposedly needed over 50 separate ingredients. Here's the strange part. It worked almost too well. When Mithridates finally lost his final war against Rome, his own kingdom crumbling, his own son turning against him, he tried to end his life the same way generations of his family had died, by poison. He swallowed it, and nothing happened. His body had spent decades building walls so thick that even the poison he chose to kill himself with couldn't touch him. According to the accounts that survive, he had to ask a soldier to run him through with a blade instead, because the one weapon he'd spent his entire life mastering was the one weapon that could no longer kill him. That practice, taking small doses of poison to build immunity to larger ones, still carries his name today. It's called mithridatism. And here's where it gets strange for you, specifically because your body does something almost identical every single day, just without the crown and the assassination attempts. Every time you drink coffee, your body is doing a smaller, gentler version of exactly what Mithridates was doing. Caffeine is technically a mild toxin, a compound plants evolved specifically to poison the insects that tried to eat them. Your first cup ever probably hit you hard, jittery hands, racing heart, maybe a headache the next day when it wore off. But drink it daily, and your brain adapts. It builds more receptors to handle the chemical, dulls the response, raises your tolerance, the exact same mechanism at a much smaller scale that let a king survive doses that would kill an ordinary man in minutes. It's the same story with alcohol. The first drink someone ever takes can knock them flat. Years of regular drinking and that same amount barely registers, not because the alcohol changed, but because the body rebuilt itself around handling it. Doctors even use a controlled, careful version of this same principle today, in allergy treatment. Someone with a severe bee sting allergy can be given tiny, carefully measured doses of bee venom, again and again over months until their immune system stops overreacting to it entirely. It's the same idea a Pontic king stumbled into 2,000 years ago, just done in a lab instead of a wilderness and with medicine instead of paranoia. But here's the part that should actually worry you a little. This process has limits, and they're not the limits people think they are. Tolerance doesn't make something safe. It just moves the line of what safe means, further and further out, while your body pays a quiet cost you don't see accumulating. The organ doing most of the real work in all of this, whether it's poison, caffeine, or alcohol, is your liver. And your liver doesn't build endless walls for free. Every dose it processes leaves some damage behind, cell by cell, invisible for years, until one day the accumulated cost shows up all at once, in ways tolerance was never actually protecting you from. Mithridates didn't die of poison, but historians believe the decades of toxins running through his system likely left him with real, lasting damage long before that final blade found him, damage his tolerance never touched, because tolerance was never designed to erase harm. It was only ever designed to delay the moment your body admits it. So the next time you reach for a second cup of coffee without even thinking about it, or pour a drink that used to knock you flat but now barely touches you, you're doing something a paranoid king spent his entire life perfecting on purpose out of fear in a court where the wrong cup could be the last thing he ever drank. You've just never had to think about it because your poison came in a paper cup, not a crown.